If mental health had been on the curriculum 30 years ago, I think our society would look a whole lot different. I think we would be more honest with ourselves, more honest with other people. I think the government would be a lot more understanding about people's needs, because a quarter of the country has mental illness and there are just not the beds and there is not the services to give us help, and it's not good enough.
A relative of mine contacted the crisis team at the, as part of the community mental health team, I think it is, and they assessed me and decided that the acute day treatment unit would be the best place to assist me at the point, with the state of mind that I had at that time.
I didn't want to know what other people were up to, because I felt like, I was so close to being somewhere that I really wanted to be, and then it was just gone suddenly. Music then was very much a way out of what I had found myself in. But I think my relationship with music has changed. So I've been living with VKH for the last 6 years, and my relationship with music has changed quite a bit.
When I know that you're gone.
I started a campaign called #ItAffectsMe to give people a voice who have suffered with mental illness or who know someone who suffers with mental illness, to try and eradicate any fear that's around talking about mental illness, and to be, I guess, a me too for people who maybe don't have someone to talk to or are too scared to speak out.
I had a wholly negative preconception of psychiatric care, based on films and on TV and stuff like that, stuff that was completely inaccurate. But I thought it was going to be much more harsh, much more brutal, much less sympathetic. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be an unpleasant experience.
We can have some very, very unwell people, and even then when they're very unwell, they can still join groups.
Yeah.
And groups are still part of that. While on a ward, I think there is, the assumption is, they're too unwell to do X, Y and Z, so they're not encouraged to go to groups. They're just kind of left to kind of their own devices a lot of the time.
At that point, I was suicidal. I didn't want to have any treatment, really, and I didn't see that any treatment could be beneficial for me either.
I'd say looking after people in the least restrictive manner.
Yeah.
And there's nothing nicer than to be able to go home at the end of the day and to go into your own bed, and I think it probably feels less like a hospital admission coming to somewhere like here.
Well, I suppose one of the key things is encouraging people to stay in the community. So going back, the institutions have closed down. People are encouraged to stay out of hospital as far as they can.
Yeah, to have live music and fun come to the unit allowed me to reconnect with something that had been missing from my life.
went to the hospital, checked it out, and they didn't know what it was, and then after a week of tests they decided that it could be this very rare autoimmune disease called Voigt-Koyanagi-Harada syndrome, which it kind of presented itself in a very odd way in me. My retina spontaneously detached, and then I lost my hearing, and then I lost the reflexes from the waist down. So it was very acute. The acute stages were like really fast and really quick, and I lost everything. Getting up about 4 or 5 in the morning, getting showered, being dressed. I'm dressed by 5:30, 6, and then I just sit in the living room with the radio on all day and not do anything. I'd graduated, I'd done quite well, and think like opportunities were coming up for me, and then this suddenly hit me, and I thought, oh no, okay, well, I can deal with not having any sight because loads of people deal with that, so it's not such a big thing. Then the hearing went. I thought, okay, don't know how I'm going to get around that, but I'm sure I can try it. Just give me some drugs and I'll be fine. And then I couldn't walk, so that's when the realisation hit, and I thought, okay, I'm in a bit of trouble here. So I just had to, I kind of gave up really, and that's when the floodgates opened, and I just let it do its thing, and I had to convalesce.
When my dad passed away, it was obviously an emotional time. I wanted to do what I thought was the right thing, the noble thing, I suppose. And yeah, keep everyone together, living as a family.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Woo! 3 cheers for Christmas. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! And 1 for luck. Hip hip. Hooray!
Well, I didn't think then of what's going to happen 12, 13 years in the future. You don't think of the fact that you're going to have to give up on a career, because in the end the stress was too much for me to be able to work and do all the caring stuff as well. Yeah, a lot of my friends got married, had kids, and I was at home pretty much all the time and missed out on the things that my friends that I'd grown up with, they were all moving on with their lives, and I felt that I was unable to move on with my life.
So while I was in recovery, I got to play a part of Laura in, which is my name, which is, the irony has not escaped on me, in Tennessee Williams' play A Glass Menagerie, which is about a girl who has crippling anxiety and panic attacks, and it prevents her from forming relationships with people, and yeah, it's autobiographical because his sister had schizophrenia and she had to have a lobotomy, and it's a really sad and important story, and for me to be able to portray someone on stage who has the same as me, it was really a special thing, and it felt like I was, I guess, grieving for everything that had happened, but channeling it through this character and for the story. I remember so specifically crying when I was at my worst from OCD and depression, and it felt different to normal tears. There was a heat in my head and an aggression to what I was feeling, which wasn't me, and it felt not me. But then as I've come out of recovery and I'm now sort of, I guess, coming to terms with what happened, I'm grieving for it and crying because of what my illness caused, but they're real tears. And I think music makes you feel things that are real, and I think that is so important when you are in recovery or in the midst of mental illness. To feel something real is so important.
Got science, we got maths, and I don't care about psychology. Got science, we got maths, you know science like biology. We got science, we got maths, from the reindeer to the wallaby. We got science, we got maths. What? We don't need your terminology, keep it specific, scientific, you must have missed it. Like deep physics, I mean business, I'm not a businessman. I'm a busy man.
It was like being in your lounge with your mate, listening to music. It had that really nice, relaxed feeling, and you could see sort of just in the room, even though some people weren't necessarily sitting there going whoa, but you could see people's faces, you could see that they're enjoying it.
I know of a road that leads to the sea. From my back door we tread carefully. In the dead of night we can feel our way through the dark. Yes, I am a dreamer. Won't you stay and dream with me of all the places we could go to, the places we could leave? And I know I've got no money, but I'm as rich as I could be, 'cause it's just like Dolly sings it. And although everyone has tried, true love ain't found in riches. It's right here by my side. How far can a crow fly? How high can the Lord's eagle soar? How long will you love me? 'Cause if the truth can be told, that's all my heart really wants to know. I can help you, we can figure it out, and I won't fight you. I will always be around, and we'll be safe now. We'll be safe.
Whatever people might be suffering from or whatever ailment they might have, music and creativity and art in all forms can be very healing. And I found that myself through going through illnesses and things.
kind of an international language, isn't it? In every culture there's music, and music is used to celebrate, it's used to commiserate. You listen to music at good times and bad times, so it makes sense that music should be part of any therapy or any kind of well-being.
Yeah, and there's a feel-good factor, isn't there, about it?
Yeah.
I have this blog where people are writing stories for #ItAffectsMe about their journeys, and the one that I published yesterday was a friend of mine called Nick, and he said, he was like, what you need to do when you are going through this is not give up hope, because it may take you 3 or 4 therapists or doctors to find one that suits you, but you need to stick with it, because there will be something that suits you and that will help. And I think that's the hardest thing to do, is not give up when you're trying to seek help, I think.
I didn't want to speak to him. I was so isolated, I was so anxious. I was actively against seeking help. I didn't want to seek help. But in the end I did. And then that was obviously the best thing that I could have done, because that's what set me on the road to getting better.
That's the great thing about live music, I think, that it can be almost anywhere. Like, well, I guess within some kind of reason, but so if someone can't get to a gig, then there are ways of making the gig come to the person.
I have no idea what this campaign is capable of, but I know that it will do good in the world, and I think we are so strong as a community, and people who don't know each other are talking to each other and are supporting each other within the Facebook group or the Twitter, and when I see that, it just makes me go, this is why we're doing it, because we're not getting the support from our government, so we have to look to it in ourselves. But if I could create a space where people could come and just be while they're recovering, that would be a dream come true.
At the top of my list, 'cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you, how I spent my day dreaming, planning how to sing out.